Chuck Schumer, the Senate leader of Democrats, was on with my old friend Dana Bash at CNN on Sunday, and he was asked about Donald Trump's ongoing fight with Harvard, where he's trying to take a bunch of money away from Harvard unless they adjust to his policies. And Chuck Schumer said this. We sent him being Trump, we sent him a very strong letter just the other day asking 8 very strong questions. So you sent him a letter, did you? That's really going to change things, right? Okay, so I think this makes, I say it in jest, but I think it makes actually 2 really important points. So the first really important point here is, if you are a Democrat and you think that Chuck Schumer is past his due date, which many Democrats do, this is not going to help Chuck Schumer. You sent him a letter. It was a very strong letter with 8 recommendations on what to do about the Harvard versus Trump imbroglio. That one will wind up directly in the old trash bin, people. I mean, come on. You think that, well, they did send me this very strongly worded letter with 8 suggestions. I mean, give me a break, man. Okay, so, like, Schumer's not helping himself here, right? I mean, it's like, dude, this is why people think elected officials are totally ineffective. Because it's like, well, we did send him a letter. We did form a committee. That against Donald Trump, that kind of stuff, I mean, that stuff very rarely works anyway. I mean, if Barack Obama was president, or George W. Bush, or Mitt Romney, or whoever, I'm not sure a strongly worded letter with 8 suggestions in it about how to deal with Donald Trump's assault on higher education is really going to change things. But it's even more ineffective with Trump, because this is not a letters writing guy, right? This is a doer. You can like him or hate him for it, but he just does stuff, and he's going to ignore a letter. Okay, so that's point 1. This will not help Schumer. And I sort of laughed when I saw that. I thought he was joking, but he wasn't joking. That's point 1. Point 2, and this maybe leavens my criticism of Schumer a little bit. Here's the reality, okay? Democrats don't control the White House, the House, or the Senate, okay? And while I think a lot of Democrats are like, we should fight more, and that's fine rhetorically, the truth of the matter is there's very little that they can do, right? Like, we make fun of the whole letter thing, and I think rightly so, but what are they going to do, right? Like, what are they? This is the executive branch exerting power over the universities, right? I'm not sure what the Senate can do about it, or the House, especially because they're controlled by Republicans. And this is why I think people don't grasp how critical it is to control even one of those 3 bodies, the White House, the House, and the Senate. Because without any of them, there's no oversight. You can just do, if you're the president and your party controls the House and the Senate, you can do whatever the hell you want. Because that's just how, especially in this era where the legislative branch is kind of rolled over for Donald Trump, they do what they want. You desperately need to control one chamber of Congress if you are a Democrat. There is simply no way for you to do anything meaningful in terms of oversight, in terms of pushback, in terms of almost anything, if you do not do that. And I think people don't understand that well enough at this point. I also was drawn to Jon Ossoff, who I think is a very bright guy. I don't know if he's going to win re-election, but he's a very thoughtful guy in the Senate, Georgia Democratic senator. He said, he was asked about why don't Democrats fight more over the weekend? Why don't Democrats fight Donald Trump more? And he said something that I think was really smart. I'm going to paraphrase it. But basically what he said is, look, unless and until we control a chamber of Congress, which would probably be the House, given the dynamics of the election in 2026, unless and until we control the one chamber of Congress, we can't do much of anything, which is like a very honest, authentic answer, and he's exactly right. This is my whole point about Democrats. Everything they do every single day between now and the November 2026 election should be focused on this one decision. Is this something that is going to make it more likely or less likely that we win back control of the House? Because if you don't have that, you are left to writing strongly worded letters with 8 very strong questions in them, in the words of Chuck Schumer. And we all know that's not going to do anything when it comes to Donald Trump. You need real oversight. And to have real oversight, to say, is he even allowed to do this? You need to control a chamber of Congress. And the way that Democrats do that is they try to win the House in 2026. To me, Schumer's comments, it's easy to roll your eyes and laugh at Schumer. And I think he should not have said that because, like, a letter does nothing. But that's really all they have at this point. If you don't control the chamber of Congress, you have no power in Washington, or very little power in Washington. And I think a lot of Democratic base voters don't get that, but that is the hard, raw political reality of the situation. And I think Schumer unintentionally brought it to light. All right, everyone. I ask you to do one thing. Hit that subscribe button. If you don't, it's free and it's easy, and it helps me a ton and ensures that you get my content delivered to you anytime it comes out. All right, everyone. Do that, and then take care.